We've seen in Homer and Herodotus examples of the Greek warrior ethic. According to this view, what is good is to be strong and to conquer others, and what's bad is to be weak and to be conquered. Although Sophocles' drama about Oedipus is not about battles and military conquest, we can still discern in it an important element of the conception of ethics that we saw associated with the warrior ethic. As noted, it was common practice among the Greeks to subject children with birth defects to exposure. The thinking was that it was better for these children to die in infancy instead of grow up and suffer throughout their lives. Today we say sometimes that it's necessary to be cruel to be kind. When Oedipus questions the servant about the events after his birth and learns that the servant saved him from his fate by giving him to a shepherd to be raised, one thinks that his reaction would be one of gratitude. The servant and the shepherd had, after all, saved his life. Yeah, but then instead, at the end of the work, Oedipus's disposition towards the shepherd is one of anger. Quote, "Curse on the man who took the cruel bonds off my legs as I lay in the field. He stole me from death and saved me. No kindly service." End quote. He agrees with the original assessment of his real parents that he should have been left there to die as ordered. In a sense, the servant thus becomes the villain in the whole story, since it was his actions in saving the infant Oedipus that made possible all of the later suffering. When asked why he did this, the servant says that he pitied the child and thus wanted to save it. This is a dramatic moment that modern readers often miss, since the explanation does not sound too troublesome to our modern ears. Everyone knows that pity plays an important role in our ethics, which are influenced by Christian ways of thinking. We have empathy for other people and we pity others who are in difficult circumstances and thus try to help them. But to the Greek warrior ethic, pity is a bad sentiment. To murder and pillage indiscriminately, one cannot have pity. This would simply undermine one's resolve and ability to act. To be hard-hearted is a virtue, but to show pity is a vice. Pity only results in more suffering. It draws out the pain. The chorus says to Oedipus, quote, "You would be better dead than blind and living." With this example, we can see how Christianity was instrumental in radically changing a very old way of thinking. By saying that the meek will inherit the earth in Matthew 5:5, Jesus is issuing a radical critique of the warrior ethic. It's not the strong who will in the end persevere, but the weak. Christianity thus inverts the old view by saying with an oxymoron that the weak are in fact the strong, only in a different sense. With Christianity, neighbor love, pity, and the idea of a guilty conscience enter into the moral life of humans. Prior to the advent of Christianity, the Greeks conceived of these things in a very different fashion. For example, in the Oresteia, Orestes has killed his mother in order to avenge his father. We would expect him to have a guilty conscience for this act. However, in the Greek way of thinking, this is represented by the Erinyes who pursue him and allow him no rest. The key here is that what we call a guilty conscience today is thought to exist in our own mind as a part of our own moral character. For the Greeks, however, this aspect of our moral life was something external to us. This mirrors the moral life of children who initially have no guilty conscience. This is something that they must learn from external authorities such as parents or teachers, and only in time does that external authority become internalized. For the Greeks, it's still something external.